All right. Good morning, everybody. This is Tiffany from the Butler Area Public Library here with another arts and crafts demo. And today we're talking about something that has become one of my personal favorite new crafts to do over the last couple of years. We are talking about something called diamond painting. If you're not familiar with what diamond painting is, it's sort of a combination of the concept of paint by number and cross stitch. Um, it's a picture that is color coded and comes to you on a piece of vinyl covered with adhesive. And the idea is that you also get sent these little diamonds or gems that you then place onto the adhesive surface of the picture to create a picture. And I have an example of it over here. This is one of the many diamond paintings I've done. I've probably done about 25 of them over the last couple of years. And I've figured out what does and does not work for me. So I wanted to talk a little bit about the process, a little bit about the differences in the kinds of kits that you can purchase and where you can purchase them from, and then answer any questions that you may have. So when I first started doing diamond painting, the first place I got my kits from was Amazon because I didn't know anything about what any of this meant. I didn't know any of the terminology. It was still pretty new at the time. And I was like, well, I'll just sort of take a gamble. And so I gambled and I purchased a kit from Amazon. And when it comes to you, this piece of like vinyl, everything comes in a package that looks like this. So I'm actually going to open this package with you for the first time. Everything comes like this. And you open it up. And the first thing that you're immediately going to notice is the canvas itself. It's like on a vinyl sort of plasticky canvas, and it has cellophane covering it because underneath the cellophane, this is tacky to get the jewels to stick to the page. It will always have a key, which might be a little bit hard for us to see on camera here. But there is a key down the side of all of the different colored gems and how they correspond to the canvas itself. Sometimes they correspond simply by number, which is what this one does up to a point, but because there are so many colors on this one, they then switch to letters. So I have some that do numbers and letters as the code, and then I have some that do shapes as the code. Either way, if you have ever done a paint by number or a cross stitch where you're used to having a color key that matches your pattern, you will have no problem picking up on this. It's a very intuitive process. The other part of the package are the gems. And the gems come in these little packets. Sometimes they are all attached in a long strip like this, and then sometimes they are just individual packets. And if you're doing a fairly small canvas, normally most of the colors only take one packet. This has a lot of black on the background, so we actually have 2 packets of the black gems. And they are all labeled with their number that corresponds to the key over here. So those are your gems. And then you get a little packet of tools. So this really does have everything that you need in it. You don't have to purchase anything additional to this kit. This is a tray that holds your gems in it. This is a little pat of adhesive, and this is the stylus that you use to place the gems on the canvas. So you figure out where you want to start on your canvas, you figure out what color you're going to start with, you open that pack of gems, you dump them into this tray, and then you kind of shake them because the gems have one side that is flat and then one side that is domed, and you want to pick it up by the domed side. And to do that, you put a little bit of this adhesive on the end of your stylus, just a teeny tiny bit, it doesn't take much. And then you will pick up the gem from the tray. The dome side should be sticking to that adhesive, and then you'll place it on the canvas so that the flat side is sticking to the adhesive on the canvas. So I am going to go ahead and pick, I'm just gonna pick a random color. This looks like this is 20. So we'll figure out where 20 is. And you just pour a few of the gems into the tray. If you shake it a little bit, sometimes more of them will land with the flat side down so that you can easily pick them up. So I already put some of that adhesive paste from that little pink pad on the end of my stylus. And you literally just pick the gem up. You can kind of see it there on the end of that stylus. You just pick the gem up, and then we will find a spot that is marked 20 on here. And we are going to lift the adhesive to where that spot is exposed. And we are going to place the gem in the corresponding spot. That's literally how easy it is. The process itself, once you get used to it, is very, very simple. It's the organization of the process that can sometimes trip people up, because these gems are tiny. They are super easy to accidentally scatter everywhere. I can't tell you the number of times I've finished a diamond painting and then 2 hours later found a diamond sticking to my wrist or on the floor, because they are very easy to lose. So some of the options you have are to purchase little containers, almost like the kind that you would use to keep DMC floss organized. They do sell one special for diamond painting, but basically they come with a series of little containers or compartments to keep all of your diamonds separated. Because the hardest part is not every color is in every space of the canvas, just like when you're doing cross stitch pattern. So in this one little square of the canvas, I might need 7 different colored gems. Well, you can imagine what it's like having 7 different packets of these tiny gems open at once. They could go everywhere. Things could get very confusing. You could lose some. So the containers that keep them separated are very, very nice. I have also found through doing multiple diamond paintings techniques that do and do not work for keeping your canvas neat. Now, because this canvas has adhesive underneath this plastic, any of you who have ever had to have a little bit of exposed adhesive over time will know that you can sometimes get dust and fuzz and pet hair and things like that that will stick to that adhesive surface, which means then your diamonds aren't going to stick to it very well. That's why they send it with this protective cover. So as much as possible when I do them, I try to start in a corner and work on one color at a time. So because the background of this one is primarily the black, I would probably start down here at the bottom corner and work on just the black portions for as long as I wanted to do some work. And then when I was done with it, I would recover it with that adhesive cover so that the rest of this canvas has never been exposed to dust and air and things like that. Inevitably, at some point, you are going to have large portions of it exposed, but the more that you can keep this recovered when you're not addressing those other parts of the canvas, the better that you are going to see result-wise. Now, this is a fairly small canvas. I have done smaller ones than this. I have done larger ones than this. When I'm doing large ones, I have found that trying to maneuver this piece of cellophane cover over and over and over gets really cumbersome. It starts to stick to the adhesive in the wrong place. So what I often will do is I will take scissors and I will make small cuts in the cellophane so that I'm only removing a portion of it at a time. And then when I am done with that portion of the diamond painting, I can just leave the cellophane off completely in that portion. And that has worked really well for me. Now, in terms of the different types of paintings there are, some of the things you will notice are different terminologies used. One that I saw all the time that I didn't understand what it meant when I first started was the term full drill. So what a full drill diamond painting is would be one like this, where the entire picture, when it is completed, is covered with the gems. So every space on this canvas will eventually be covered with diamonds. Those are longer to complete. They often have more colors, more gems, but they also produce a very, very, very shiny, pretty result. When a picture is not full drill, I will put my unicorn back up here for just a second. It means only a portion of the canvas is actually going to be covered with diamonds. So on this unicorn canvas here, the only part that is covered with the gems is the actual unicorn itself. So the horn, the ears, the mane, the head, and the neck. The rest of this is just printed on the canvas. So these can actually be really nice if you want a shorter term project. They're very nice beginner projects if you are worried about investing too much time or becoming overwhelmed or frustrated. I would say find one that does not say full drill, and that would be a good place to start. This is a pretty average size canvas here. When you are selecting a canvas, the one thing you want to remember is if it's a very complicated picture, the smaller the canvas is, because you can often order them in different sizes, the smaller the canvas is, the more pixelated the result is going to be. Because what they're doing is they're essentially taking a picture and they're boiling it down to a grid in order to have the gems fit close together. So if I were to take this same pattern and make it very, very small, it would be harder to get the distinctions in these grays. So it would look very, very pixelated. So keep that in mind when you are making your kit selections as well. Sometimes the gems come in different shapes, and sometimes the kits say that and sometimes they don't. I have worked with round gems. I have also worked with square gems. I don't have a huge preference. I think that the round gems are a little bit more forgiving because they don't have to be so precisely lined up. I'll show you a couple of other examples of full drill pictures I have done. One is round gem and one is square gem. So this is a round gem sinking of the Titanic kit that I did. And you can see the result is very, very, very shiny because it's all gems. And it's very hard to convey through like video or even photograph how beautiful these are when they're completed because they're so very sparkly and so very shiny. So you can see that it does look pretty uniform. It does look pretty, you know, the lines are straight and everything. But because they're round gems, a little bit of the canvas is going to show under, like around the edges of each individual square, which will let the color that corresponds on the canvas show through just a little bit around the round edges of the gem, which make it a little bit more forgiving because if it's not precisely lined up, you do not notice as much. Now this one is my absolute favorite one that I have ever done. I think I calculated this had something like 47,000 gems in it. Yeah, and it's not even that large of a picture. You can see at the top, it's 25 centimeters squared. So that's not that large. You know, it's larger than a sheet of printer paper, but not by much. And these are square gems, and they are much more precise to work with because they butt right up against each other. In fact, when I worked on the square gem one, you could hear the gems click into place because there is no edge around them that is not touching the other gems except for the top, you know, the side rows. So it was a little bit different experience working with the square ones. This took me months to work on because it had so many gems, it had so many different colors, and I was so worried about messing it up with the cellophane and everything. So I only worked on small sections at a time. Had I started out with one like this, I probably would have never done a second one. I would have been a little scared. So I would say try to stick to something simple when you're looking for your first one to purchase. And they always are going to come with these tray and the little drill placement tools and the little pat of adhesive. You can purchase additional tools. Sometimes you can purchase ones, or sometimes the kits will come with ones that have an additional like fixture on the other end of this that allows you to place 3 gems at a time, which make it go a little bit faster. That is nice for when you're working on a large area of the same color, like that black on the first picture that I showed you. You could actually place 3 black gems at a time. And it's the same thing, you just scoop the pink adhesive in there and then you just pick up 3 gems at once. So it can go a little bit quicker. Sometimes you will also find in a kit like a roller. It kind of looks like a lint roller almost. And what that is for is when you have completely finished your picture, you want to make sure that those gems are adhering really, really well to the canvas. So you place like a sheet or a piece of cloth over top of your gems, and then you roll this roller over top just to apply some additional pressure to make sure that those gems stick really, really well. I have purchased most of my kits from either Amazon or, believe it or not, Wish. There are pluses and minuses to both systems. I have found that the quality of the ones that I get on Amazon is better. Usually I get them much quicker. And I've never had a problem with needing to return something or ordering something and it didn't get to me. However, there's not always a lot to pick from. So if you are like me and you have done most of the ones on Amazon that appeal to you and you don't want to wait for new kits to come out and hit Amazon, you might look at alternative sources, which is why I went to Wish. If you're not familiar with it, Wish is like a resale independent vendor site where people who purchase these in bulk can then go on and sell them as a vendor. The majority of my orders from Wish did come from China. So sometimes the translation in the sales listing wasn't 100% accurate. I didn't always have a good idea of the size that I was ordering. I didn't always have a good idea whether or not it was full drill. And it takes quite a while for those to arrive. I can only imagine right now it's taking twice as long, with some of the shipping being slowed down and things like that. I personally never had trouble with purchasing something from Wish that didn't come. I've always received anything I've ordered from Wish. I have heard that some other people will have trouble ordering something and it never coming, and because you're dealing with a vendor that is overseas, it can be a little bit trickier getting that resolved. Wish is often appealing because it's cheaper. I will say though, you get what you pay for. So I have ordered several kits off of there that were like, this is free, just pay the shipping, or this is $1, just, pay the shipping. And so at the end of the day, I was getting a kit that may have only cost $5, but then it comes and it is a canvas that is this big with only one little item on it that's actually going to be covered in gems. So was it really worth the $5 and the 7 weeks that it took to get here? Probably not. At this point, diamond painting has become pretty popular. So I know I have seen kits, or they may not be called diamond painting. They may be called something else. But I know that Michaels has sold kits in the past, and I know for certain Joann Fabrics sells kits. So I would imagine that their websites have them available for purchase as well. And again, they might look a little different, but I know I had ordered a large kit of Starry Night by Vincent van Gogh, probably my second favorite one that I ever worked on. It was quite large. It was about this big. And I was really nervous. I went ahead and ordered that one from Amazon, and it was a little bit pricier. I think it was maybe like $25, so not exorbitant. And especially in terms of crafts, we all know we can invest a lot of money very quickly in craft projects. So $25 to get everything you need to make one project really isn't that bad. But then several months after I purchased it online, I saw that that was one of the kits that Joann Fabrics had in store. And it was the same size and it contained all the same stuff. So you definitely have some options in terms of purchasing. The biggest question I get asked is, okay, I've made all of these. What do I do with them? I don't necessarily have a great answer for that. For me, the process of creating them is why I do them. I don't necessarily do anything with them afterwards. However, some people do choose to get them framed. And the problem with it is they're usually very irregular sizes, so you have to get them custom framed. If that is something that you're interested in, I know Michael's does some custom framing and you could look into that. I'm sure there's other, there's probably like some small businesses in the community that do custom framing that would be able to help you with that as well. I have also seen tutorials online where people will take like a stretched canvas and paint it and then like glue the diamond painting onto that as sort of a more cost-effective way to have a way to display it in your home. So those are the only like two options I can really think of. But if you're super like ingenious and can think outside the box, I am sure there are other things that you could do with them as well. Whether you would put them like in a shadow box, or if some people have like a glass top table that there is a display space underneath, you could display them under there. You do want to make sure that you are protecting it in some way, because even with the most precision and the extra pressure of a roller, the gems can come a little loose sometimes. So you want to make sure that you are protecting it if you are going to display it in any way in your home. Typically, I just put mine in a big container and keep them. I don't know why I keep them, but that's what I do with them. Like I said, for me, it's the process. It's almost like coloring. I don't really do anything with my coloring pages after I'm done with them, because the enjoyment I got from them was the process of doing them. So that's my little talk about diamond paintings. And I'm going to go ahead and give everyone my email address. If you have questions, you can contact me at the Butler Library. You can email me at tharkleroad, that's THARKLEROAD at bcfls.org. And if you do decide to take up this new hobby and you create something, I would absolutely love it if you shared it with me, because so many people say, oh, you know, I've seen that, I've wanted to try it, but I didn't know how it would look. And then once they do it, you know, my mother does it now, my sister does it now, my brother does it now. Like it's a very relaxing, it's a very relaxing hobby that doesn't also stress you out. It can be a little bit of strain on the eyes, and there are things that you can purchase to make that easier. You can purchase a light table that will illuminate from behind and make it easier to see the symbols and numbers and letters that are on the pattern. Or you can just try to do it in a well-lit area. So yeah, there's lots of different options. These are just very basic, very beginner level kits. I don't know how extremely intricate they can get. I'm guessing pretty big. I've seen ones that would basically cover an entire wall of a room. I cannot imagine how long that would take. But we've got plenty of time on our hands right now, I suppose. So like I said, if you ever have any questions about anything, please feel free to contact me at the library, and thanks for tuning in.